everybody. So this is so exciting. This is the Hallmarkies podcast, and we're here for our next week of Hallmark Christmas movies 2018. So exciting. We're talking about 4 Christmas movies that aired this weekend, and I'm Rachel, and I am joined by 2 special guests. It is the reunion of Chesapeake Chats, and so it's very exciting. And Lisa is here.
Hi, guys.
Yay. And Kaycee is here.
Hey, so excited to be here.
Thank
Reunited.
you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we have 4 movies: Mingle All the Way, A Majestic Christmas, Once Upon a Christmas Miracle, and Christmas Wonderland. And we're just gonna dive in. Let's get going. So, all right. So Mingle All the Way. Mingle All the Way is the basic story is that you have this woman played by Jen Lilly that her name is Molly, that she doesn't want to work for her family company, so she decides to invent this app, and the point of the app is connecting people who need a +1 during the holidays, or I guess other times too. And so she decides to test the service, and she ends up getting matched with this guy named Jeff, who she initially hates, but then as they interact, she's won over by his many charms. So that's the basic story. And so, Lisa, what was your overall thoughts on Mingle All the Way?
You know, I thought it was super fun. I liked that there was a villain. I liked that there was the fake dating. I mean, parts of it were a little out there for me where I was like, really? Come on now. But overall, I had a really good time watching it. I thought it was really cute.
Yeah. Kaycee, what did you think?
I really enjoyed this one. This one was super fun and cute and happy, and I love Jen Lilly. I think she's just so adorable, and I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, she is the best. I mean, I didn't like her last movie, but for the most part, she is just, even in that movie, she was still adorable. Mm-hmm. And she was just crushing Twitter, like amazing live tweeting. On Saturday, she had all these previously filmed like videos of her with these different shirts, these different sweaters, and like it was amazing. I was, wow, you took it like all, now the bar has been raised for all the Hall stars in live tweet. Like there's no going back now. And she's such a nice person. I mean, and she's such a good person, donating her single sales to help this kid get a heart, and she does the foster care. She's just an incredible human being, and she's really fun in this movie for sure. Yeah, I think. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really funny. I thought the cast was incredible, and it had some bonkers stuff, but overall I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was fun. So first of all, what do we think about this app? I know both of you are married, so maybe you can go back to your single days and think, would this be an app that you think would be helpful or terrible?
I don't know if I have the guts to actually use one of those kinds of apps, but I mean, I guess part of it is also I've never understood that being that invested on whether your kid was dating somebody or not. I'm like, yeah, I never had that pressure. My parents were like, you're lucky if you find someone that puts up with you. So whenever they do, latch on to them. No, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I guess I understand it if I was more of in a corporate situation where I had a lot of events to go to, but I was in athletics for 20 plus years. We had coaching parties. Nobody cared. Yeah. Nobody cared if you showed up with somebody or not.
I mean, I think for me, that as someone who is single, I have to say, I think not as much the like necessity, but I do think when you have a +1, it's so much more fun and these kind of things. At least you have somebody to talk to. You have somebody, and the few times that I've been able to find a date to those kind of, when I used to get invited to those kind of company parties, it was just way better because it was just way more pleasant. Yeah. But I think that I don't think it would really be all that successful. I think, I don't know. It's just a little, I just can't imagine that many people, like, are they going to be paying by the month or by the match? Or can't imagine that many people really being that invested they would pay for a service like that. I don't know. What do you think, Kaycee?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I mean, I met my husband in high school, and then we dated in college, and then shebang, like we got married. So I really can't speak to whether or not I would use it. And I've also never been in a situation where like I needed a date to something for like work parties. It's always been like, you can if you want, if you don't. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, whatever. Um, but I guess it's kind of like farmers only, but for business.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would, I think they can't say, oh, you can't come to this, or you can't. I think the idea is that it just, you have everybody else there, you just feel more included, and it's just more pleasant, and it's kind of a thing a little bit. But yeah, I think unless maybe if it was sort of like Tinder and it was just free and people could just use it, then maybe, but I can't imagine people signing up for it and paying for it is the thing.
Well, and later in the movie, they end up saying something like, well, this is just supposed to be a networking thing. I'm like, how is that? It's not a networking thing. It's a fake dating. They're like, we don't want this to be a fake date. It is a fake dating thing, because who says bring over your networking associate to this Christmas party? No, they say bring a date, or bring your husband, or bring your wife, or bring whoever it is you want to, but not, well, bring over somebody who can network around
Yeah.
here. No, it's a fake dating app.
I do have to say, the one time one of my friends from college, she like insisted that all of us that were in this particular sort of single group, you know, that had known her and that were still single or whatever, she was like, you all need to bring a date. And at first I was like, that's awkward, because why would my date want to go to this other person's wedding? But I have to say, it made it way better, because I mean, I was just bringing one of my friends, and it was really fun because I always had someone to dance with. I wasn't just sitting there like you do at most weddings, which are so boring. I want to die. And you had somebody to talk to. It's someone to dance with. It was just way better. And so if I ever get married, that's one thing I wanted to like really kind of push my single friends, like bring a date to the wedding, because that was just such a positive experience for me.
For sure.
So anyway, so yeah, the app is kind of but whatever. And so so Jen Lilly is running this app company, the startup or whatever. And so she decides to go on to and be like a test case of the app. And she ends up meeting this guy played by Brant Daughtry. What did we think of him as our co-lead?
I liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen him in anything else.
Yeah, me neither.
I found out that he was in Pretty Little Liars as some like really skeezy dude. And I was like, I could see that. He's got that. If this were another network, I could see where he turned out being like the really charming serial killer. But he's attractive. Yeah. I was into it. Yeah. I liked him.
He was very hunky. I thought he was great. Yeah. And
so he had a really good smile.
Yes, he had a really good smile. And that's all you really need, let's be honest, in this kind of role. I mean, yeah, not like it. So, and then Casey Manderson is her assistant at this, at her office. And oh my gosh, he was so fun. I loved him. He was great.
Yes.
And Sandy Sidhu is her friend, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, it was just her friend. And when she showed up with those glasses, I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. And I love her in the glasses. And I wish we could get a whole extra movie, like a side movie about the Casey Manderson, Sandy Sidhu romance.
Yes.
Right? I mean.
Yes, I ship it. I totally ship it. We need Mingle All the Way Part 2, but just on them.
Yes, it was so cute. I loved them. I thought they had good chemistry, and I wanted to see their whole story. They're so good. I hope that they keep using Sandy and Casey, but because she's just the best. I really just feel like she has such a warmth, and is just really a good actress, I think. So I hope they keep using her. Anyway, they were the best. And this movie was just so rich as far as talent. I mean, they had, what do you think of Lindsay Wagner as her mom? It was kind of a weird role, but I don't know. What do you think, Lisa?
She nailed it. She made me tense
Yeah.
every time she came on the screen. I was like, oh God, now what? Ooh. Yeah, she played like serious like mom face, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. She was intense. I was like, why is she was just she's just worried about her daughter is the main thing, kind of, but she's very passive aggressive about it.
Yeah. She
Kind of.
reminded me of, okay, I cannot remember who plays her, but the one with J-Lo and the wedding.
Oh,
that
what's that
movie?
called?
Jane Fonda, that movie where she's
Yes.
monster-in-law.
Monster-in-Law? Yeah, she
Yeah.
really reminded me of her.
She does have
She
kind of
was
a
just,
Jane Fonda kind of, yeah.
yeah. And just how she was super pretentious about everything and like, you have to work for me.
Yeah,
Terrible
that movie makes me
daughter.
tense.
I was like, oh.
I think it was the All the Feels girls that brought up the eggnog scene, and she's like holding this, and then she just like sets it off to the side. We were
Like
like
hidden in all the plants, and I'm like, you're not gonna refrigerate that? That's
that
like
was so funny.
dairy.
That was
Okay.
that was really funny. And so they go on quite a few little sort of dates, man. They have so many parties, and like I feel like I'm lucky if I get invited to one Christmas party a year. There's the one for church and the Christmas party, and maybe I'll get invited to one other at a friend's, or it's something to do with work, or depending on the year, depending on what I'm doing. But man, they had like, I don't know. It was pretty,
Cookies and singing and carols, and just I was like, oh my God,
It's
a lot.
yeah, but we got to see Ava Cooper as an elf and then as a mini chef, and it was the cutest thing to ever exist. We agree.
It was. She was really cute in this movie.
She was adorable, and that whole gingerbread decorating like scene, and then they end up dancing, which I really liked, sort of the cozy dancing scene. But I think it's her sister or somebody who's like, "This is our song." I was like, "Whose song is Silent Night?" Like, what's going on? Like maybe Kelly Pickler in Graceland. That's her song. But I don't know anybody else. That was really funny to me. But I liked the dancing. I thought there were a lot of like cute, cozy moments, I thought, in this. They were fun.
Yeah, I liked it when they were doing something, and was it paint or something like that? And he went to try and like attack her with a brush, and she was like, "Don't."
Yeah, that was cute.
It's like she was like, "No, we're not doing that flirty painting scene in this movie. Don't."
Yeah.
I was there for that. It was cute.
And I thought the script was pretty solid. I really liked the line, "Is Grinchiness part of your heritage? Because I need to know what I'm fake dating to." That's a good line, I thought. And I didn't really understand why she's not telling him about the app. Like, I didn't really get that conflict. Did you get it, Kaycee?
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I was kind of like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know.
Like, they both know they both met on the app. The fact that she founded the app, I don't understand why that is a problem. It didn't make sense to me. Think about the whole thing with her dad and the ornament, or the angel. That was kind of a cute scene, I thought.
Like when he gets the gift.
Yeah.
That was very sweet. Although at the beginning I was like, who puts down what they want to purchase on a counter and then turns around and walks away? It's like, keep it with you.
Yeah.
I didn't get that part, but I was very, very sweet. I wasn't expecting it. I watched it after everybody else. Like I had a family night thing, so I watched it after everybody else. So I wasn't expecting it. So it was a really sweet surprise, and I thought it was very cute.
Yeah. And so then we have Preston Vanderslice as this villain.
He was the best.
He was so funny. He was very bitter, very upset, and he spills the beans about her owning Mingle All the Way. And he, even though it was like nonsensical as conflict, it was still really funny because he was funny, I thought. Yeah.
I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
He was terrible. God, I like that. He really did it well.
Yeah. He was good.
He makes like the best villainy like faces.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then like that when she's in the restaurant with her friend and like just the panning of the camera, I was like, oh snap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, oh.
It was good. All right. How many crowns did you give this one, Lisa?
I gave this one 3.75.
Yeah. Good.
It was fun. Yeah.
Kaycee, what about you?
I would say 4.
Yeah.
4.
That's the same as me. I also give it a 4. I really did enjoy it. It was, I think a lot of it was buoyed up by the cast and how much I liked, and some of the side sort of relationships, and Ava Cooper being so adorable. And yeah, she was so cute. So I give it 4 crowns, and I have it at 14 in my ranking of the year. We have so far, we have watched 79 Hallmark movies for the year, which is crazy.
Dang.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, I have it just below Royal Hearts at 13 and Love at First Dance at 15. So there we go. All right. So next we have Christmas Wonderland. So the story behind this is Heidi Lee has left the small town to become a big city painter, which we'll talk about that. But she goes back to watch her niece and nephew. While there, she gets roped into planning the annual snowball for the high school with old beau Chris. As they work together, sparks fly. She reexamines her life. So there you go. So that is Christmas Wonderland. And Lisa, what were your overall thoughts on this one?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be as nice as possible because I had fun with it. However, I worked in public education for a long time in athletics and as a senior class sponsor, and everything about the party planning, the dance, whatever, it was so ridiculous. It just took me out of it because I was like, "What? No, the gym is out. There's a cafeteria. Oh, and you can still use those decorations. Oh, and they wouldn't ask the coach of an upcoming season to have to
That's very true. So true. And also, I mean, how did they not notice this? I mean, that's a pretty sizable leak. This is not something that's just like, I mean, it was a pretty big amount of water coming down, and that's not something that just like happens, like you would notice it way sooner.
And it's winter, which means it's basketball season, which means they'd be using the gym, which means it wouldn't be there anyways. And it just
that's so
all
true.
of that, I couldn't handle it. I was like, at least, but I will say this, I was very impressed that they did not have all the teachers wearing jeans.
Oh, okay.
All the guy teachers wear jeans, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen either.
Yeah.
So good for you on.
So Kaycee, what did you think of this one?
Okay, I'm not alone.
For different reasons. For many different reasons.
There's so many layers.
So the actors I really liked. Emily Osment. I remember her from like little Hannah Montana days.
Oh, okay.
When she was like younger, and she was like super high, squeaky, and like bouncy. And to see her in a grown-up role was like pretty cool. I was like, oh, she's like all grown up now. Because I mean, I was old when Hannah Montana came out, but I just remember her from like the kids I used to babysit. Anyways, so I enjoyed them. What I did not appreciate was the guy's attitude. I don't even remember his name. That's how much I really did not like him.
The lead guy?
I liked the lead guy. What's his
Chris.
Chris. His attitude. I was like, dude, if you are that bitter 10 years later after high school about this girl who's trying to be nice to you, but you're being so salty. Oh, and then I was like, no, girl, you do not need a man like him. And then they get together because of course they're going to get together. And I was just like,
yeah.
I just can't with that.
Yeah. This one was weak. It's a tough one to defend. I have to say some others I feel like I can, but I thought that Emily Osment, she is like born for Hallmark. She was in the show Young and Hungry on ABC Family and or whatever Freeform, and that show had a very classic rom-com dynamic to it. It was very similar to kind of The Nanny, but she's like he hires her as personal chef versus like hires her as a nanny, but very similar kind of dynamic going on, which everyone should know how much I adore The Nanny. And so I really did enjoy that show. And I just think she's a great fit for Hallmark, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And it was fun for me because it was all filmed in Utah. So I was like, oh yeah, you're trying to pretend this is Pennsylvania, but there's the Rocky Mountains right there.
My husband like would walk in and I'm like, oh, it's set in Pennsylvania. And he's like, there are no mountains in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He's from there. I was like, there's pretty big mountains.
Like, who knew there was the salt flats in the middle of Pennsylvania? Didn't know that was a thing. So that was fun. And there was also some like local actors that you see around, like her brother-in-law, he's like in tons of local stuff. So it's like, oh, look, it's I know him. Anyway, so that was mildly diverting. And I actually liked, he was definitely a jerk and jerk too long. So I agree with you. But I did think they actually had like semi-decent chemistry, and like the scenes, there were like cute moments, I thought, like when they were dancing or like, I don't know, when they had their glitter war, like stuff like that, I thought was fun. So it wasn't miserable. I didn't want to kill myself, but there was some really bad. I thought that all the stuff with the niece and nephew was super boring, and I didn't think that they were most of the acting I thought was on a lower level than you typically get in Hallmark movies.
Yeah,
in my opinion, aside from those two leads.
All I can about the parents. Okay, so first of all, I want to be half as excited as anybody as that dad when they get that lead speaker. He's like, we're going to be the keynote speaker at a real estate convention. Super stoked. And I was like, I want to be like even halfway excited about anything that this guy is about that. That was awesome. And then the whole like being delayed and delayed and delayed.
It was hilarious. It was terrible. It was so funny.
Ridiculous. Like, what?
Like,
how would the electronic boards or everything electronic? I get it. It grounds it because that actually happened here in Connecticut not too long ago, but it was for like half a day.
Yeah.
It wasn't like days upon days where you have to go to other airports and keep rental cars. And I'm like, how much is this trip costing these parents? Like,
plus that airport, like, I think if you were in some like really far out of the way place in Alaska, they would still have a real airport, not like this. It was like a drop off for school. That's what it looked like. And like they really going to have this woman is going to come out and notify every single person who comes to the airport.
Yes.
And it's down. It was hilarious. You could see like in the distance there was just like all these residential properties like right behind the airport. And, I was just dying. It was so bad. I kind of just was laughing at it, I guess.
Well, yeah.
It was terrible. Like they were the least involved parents I've ever seen. Like I kind of wish they had shown like they'd gone back to see him and they were like sipping martinis, or whatever, like because they don't even like call, they don't even
no, what are you doing? Like, why couldn't the kids go with the aunt back to New York? You wait for the makeup test and then you just go back with her.
Like you would think that that she was not, I mean, you would think that somebody that had scheduled all of this stuff, like she would be more concerned about it, especially if she thinks her sister's kind of a little bit flaky. But it was hilarious. It was so ridiculous. I don't know. And there were a couple other things that were like insanely ridiculous in this movie. First of all, do people really go to New York to become an artist? Like I know people go to Florence, people go to Paris, maybe London, I've heard. I feel like people go to New York to become dancers, to become singers.
Stage actors.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody being like, oh, I'm going to go make my fame and fortune as an artist in New York City. Like, what? I mean, you can you can be an artist
Yeah.
anywhere, certainly in Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is only like 2 hours from New York City. Like, it's not that far. So she could totally be a painter and sell her wares in New York City. I don't know. I was just kind of like, if that was her original, if she was going to work in galleries, okay, fine. But like, I would still, if I was going to work in galleries, I would go to like Aspen or Park City or I don't know, someplace like that. Not New York City.
Yeah. So my brother's an artist. Now he does more digital art stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I remember when he was looking more like LA, California,
Yeah.
and all that, and Orlando. I think New York maybe, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like you could do art anywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
And I just feel like if you were trying, you'd want to go someplace that had like galleries and was really swanky, like you said, Aspen or Malibu or like Palm Beach or someplace like that.
yeah.
Right, where old people buy paintings. So it's like, I think that's where you want to go.
Unless you went to college for art in New York.
Okay, that could be.
Maybe.
Stay there. Yeah, because they at one point they say, well, you left to go play hockey, and then I left to go art something in New York. I don't know if it was school or I don't know. She's just like, I left and
so that's admittedly a nitpick, but what do you guys think of the cookie baking scene? It was
when she makes that giant cookie, like all like,
that cookie.
she's like, oh, we're just gonna ice it a little bit. Like,
What? And the nephew, is that the one where the nephew's like, I'll still eat it, no big deal.
well,
I was
honestly,
like, oh.
I would too. I would have too.
It was hilarious. I was like, has this woman never seen a cookie in her entire life? Like, what? Especially when you can just buy the like slicing kind, if you're just making sugar cookies, like
The breakaways?
yeah, the breakaways or whatever you want. Like, you literally just like ball of dough, boom, put it in the oven. You nailed it.
As a parent who has older kids, I reject the homemade only sign up. No, I reject that because I've been in schools where they were like homemade only when you sign up for cookies. And I was like, nay, you will get the cookies that I bring. You want me to take them out of the plastic and put them on a tray? I will. But no, you either want them or you don't. What does it matter if I make them?
Right. And they've even moved away from that because you never know if there's peanuts in the house or all kinds of weird stuff. So they almost want you to have store-bought now than homemade. But it was just like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what is that? Like, it's the weirdest. It's like an alien came in and made this cookie. Like,
was it you that tweeted, I guess she's not young and hungry anymore or something
yes,
like that?
I did.
That made me laugh so hard.
That was a good one. That was a really good one. So also my height of tweeting for the night was I'm pretty sure that they had the same jacket in my Christmas Inn. And I had the screenshot of the guy wearing the jacket, of the kind of bubbly gray jacket. And they're both filmed in Utah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, they're just passing around clothes. Like, I was very excited about that.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So I was nailing it with the live tweeting, but not genuinely great, but hey. So it was so bad that it was hilarious to me. This cookie. So what did we think of his friend, the principal? Did we like him at all? Was he fun?
Well, he was the vice principal, and I was like, why are you in charge of everything? Where's the principal? And why do you have to go to the board to get a budget for a school dance? Like, that's already decided. Like, none of it made sense to me. Like,
also, why are they having the snowball before Christmas? Why wouldn't you have a Christmas ball? Snowball should be in January.
Yeah, like just none of it made sense to me. Like I've worked at schools that had winter formals, but they made them formal so they could have them at hotels because it was during the winter and you can't
Yeah.
use any of the school because we had winter sports and you
Yeah.
do that.
And that barn was not big enough for that school. Like,
Yeah.
what, they have like only 50 kids to attend.
Yo, that was my favorite part, watching awkward high school dancing. I was like looking at everyone of that background. There was a lot of like just shoulder awkward tilting back and forth and fake smiles. Man,
we call it in Mormon world, we call it the deacon shuffle because like the young men are called deacons in our church, and so we're like, oh, they're just doing the deacon shuffle.
Put a balloon in between the two of them so they don't get too close.
That's right. What did we think about her art? Did we like her art, or was it the worst?
It's not my style. So the school I went to, they're very up on their fine art. Like very I don't know, it's just very fine art, whereas hers is more modern, and I tend to like the fine art a little better.
I thought the mural was way better than the individual painting that we saw, in my opinion.
Yeah, the mural was okay.
It still wasn't my favorite, but I thought it was better than that like Lisa Frank meets Thomas Kincaid weird fluorescent painting that she made. I was like, I don't know about this.
It was just so odd. Like they're showing it in the gallery and it's all this very nice muted tones and like all these soft brush strokes, and all of a sudden, wow, there's hers, like super like vibrant, and you were just like, well,
it looked like the kind of thing from the 90s that would have like black velvet.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You would like scratch it off and it'd have like all the colors or whatever.
Yeah, and it would be like a tiger or something like that, and it'd be like orange with like black velvet.
Which I feel really bad because it was actually, I mean, you know, there's somebody actually did those paintings like for real, and I mean, it's just not my personal style, but it was well done. It just didn't for me, it just didn't make sense how it fit in with the rest of the maybe that was the whole point, is showing how different she was. But her sketches at the beginning, or her portfolio at the beginning, didn't look anything like that style. And I was just, it was odd. It
really was. I mean, but like I said, I did think that there were some cute moments. Did you guys like the glitter war, or was that too ridiculous?
Oh, I thought it was cute.
It was cute, right?
I missed that part.
Oh, the glitter war. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you'd want glitter all over your barn floor like that. You'd have to put so much for it to even show. But it was cute. That was fun. I liked that, and I did think the very ending was kind of nice, them dancing, and you did get two near kisses in this, which were funny. I was like, just let it go to voicemail. You have to answer every time the phone rings. So anyway, so they go off, and there you go. I can't imagine what they were thinking originally having this on Hallmark Channel. This did not feel like a Hallmark Channel, both in quality and in tone. It felt totally Hallmark Movies Mysteries to me.
Yeah. For sure.
But anyway, but come back, try again, Emily Osment, because I think you have so much potential, and keep filming in Utah because we're the best. And we even have, like, in Provo where they filmed it, there's a little airport. I have no idea. Like, they could have filmed it there. Like, I have no idea what they were thinking with that. But anyway, so how many crowns would you give this one, Lisa?
I'm going to be generous and say 2.5. Okay.
And Kaycee?
I was going to say 2.9.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, you're nicer than I am.
There were some redeeming moments. I mean, I feel like the two lead actors, like, if you put those two together in a different movie with a better, not so ridiculous storyline, like, I could dig it. But the storyline and his attitude and I just killed it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's not one of the ones that made me actively frustrated for the most part, but it was too boring in spots, but it did have fun, cute moments at times. I don't know. I'm going to give it 2.5 as well. And I have it at number 68 in my ranking. So
Out of 73?
out of 70, 79.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have
What's
it
number
just
79 right now?
79 is Home by Spring, which is what to me was epically bad in every way. I hate it. It was not for me.
That was a sidebar. Sorry.
Yes. So anyway, I have it just below the second morning show mystery movie, which I didn't really like, and then Love Once and Always 69, which I just thought was so disappointing. So there we go. That's where I have it. Okay. Next, we have A Majestic Christmas, and this is about this woman named Nell who goes back to her hometown to manage a project for Connor, a client of her real estate firm that is looking to turn the Majestic Theater into a multiplex. Turns out she had met him in an awkward Santa bell ringer exchange earlier, but as they work together on the project, they get to see the true spirit of Christmas and fall in love. So, did you guys have expectations about this at all, or going into it? What were you thinking? Do you think it looked promising, or I don't know?
I did, because I love her.
Okay.
I loved her for a while, and I was super excited to see her as a lead. Quick story, really, really quick. She was in that movie, A Christmas Kiss, which I know is not Hallmark. However, I caught it on cable somewhere, and that's what kind of led to all of this, because I just loved the simplicity of the movie, the cute, just very, very light storyline. Okay, and that's what led me to seek out more, and then I just kept watching more and more Hallmark movies, and then here we are. So I was really, really stoked to see that she was a lead in a Hallmark.
Is she like one of the girls' friends in The Christmas Kiss?
Yes, A Christmas Kiss. Okay. She's Tressa. She is her friend, the makeup artist, who ends up.
Okay. Yeah. That's a bonkers one, but it's fun. I like it.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kaycee, did you have any expectations of this?
I mean, I really didn't, but for the most part, I don't have any expectations with a lot of the Hallmark movies. Like, I try to avoid a lot of the spoilers, and I do read a little bit of the synopsises, but I mean, like 37, I don't remember all of them. So yeah, which I think is good, because I don't want to go in biased. I'm already biased when I see like CCB or Jen Lilly or all, the main people, but yes, I really didn't have any expectations going in.
Well, that's good, because I think I gave it a snow water. I wasn't or Cole, I think maybe I gave it a sock because I was getting my network's preview shows confused. I think I gave it either a sock or a Cole, because it just, on the surface, it sounded very tired and very bland. Like, how many times have we seen this Save the Farm, Save the Theater, I was like, oh, like one of my least favorite tropes. And so I went into it kind of dreading it a little bit, wasn't familiar with any of these actors, so I didn't have that in its favor. But I ended up loving it. It was such a pleasant surprise. And it just shows to me that when you have a formula, like, formulas aren't bad. Even something that I think, oh my gosh, I never want to see another one of those kind of movies again. And then people do it well, and I'm like, okay, I'm on board. And that's how we felt with this. It just worked for me. I was so pleasantly surprised. I just thought it was charming. It was just so charming to me.
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite of the weekend. And I think for me, what the difference was is, this, like we've talked about before, this is a very used storyline, save the fill in the blank. But for me, what made it a little different was usually it's one person has a secret they're trying to save, whatever, and the other person doesn't know. And then you find out at the end, and that's the big conflict. Well, you're just using me, or you're just, you know what I mean? But right off the bat, she was like, oh, I'm going to change your mind. I'm going to try. And he was like, okay, but I'm stubborn. And so there was no like secrecy. There was no like plot to like change him, on the sly. It was just like, she's like, I'm going to try and change your mind. He was like, yeah, try it, because I'm not going to. And I thought that was, I don't know. I think that's why it worked for me better.
Yeah. They were so professional. Like, they never, I don't know. They villainizing either of them for doing their jobs. I felt like, except for Barry. He was the only one that villainized anybody, but in a hilarious way. They were both just so mature, and I thought their romance grew really organically, and I really bought it. So yeah, I don't know. What did you think, Kaycee?
I thought it was very sweet. Now I did watch it very recently, like a couple hours ago.
Okay.
And I watched a part of it last night and I got really tired, and then part of it today. I think if I watched it all together, fully focused, I would have enjoyed it way more than I did, but I was kind of like, okay. But I really liked, there were a lot of cute moments, lots of, I don't know, the acting was really good, I thought. I think it's definitely an enjoyable one for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about this opening bit so she gives to the bell ringer Santa. So we know, of course, she's a good person. And, and the second time they show her twice. And then the second day, her bracelet like falls into the bell ringers thing, and the pod, I guess you call it. And like most bell ringers things just has like a slit, like it doesn't have like the full, so you couldn't ever, but whatever, it worked. It was hilarious because then she's going back to try to get her bracelet from the pot. He comes up and he's like, oh my gosh, this woman is stealing from Santa Claus.
That was my favorite. That was the best.
It was so funny. I mean, if she was legit stealing from Santa Claus, that's the worst human being on earth. Like, she might as well be a Nazi. Like, it's so bad. It was hilarious. I loved it. And then they get up to the office, and it's like, oh, look, you'll be working with the person who just had this. It was so funny. But they didn't like unreasonably hate each other or anything like that. They worked together like mature adults, and it was so good. And they find out they're going to be working to update, renovate, whatever, this theater that his aunt used to own. And so she goes down there, and I loved Barry. Barry was hilarious to me. I thought he was so funny. They start off with that telephone thing in the antique store. That was funny, I thought. And just all of his protesting and everything was so funny.
The picture, when he took a picture at the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was like, you won. Let's take our picture.
I loved how Connor just kept winning everything. He wasn't even trying or everything. And then Barry's like,
against my better judgment.
So funny. It was great. And I mean, I liked everybody in this town. They were all so great. Like, I liked the lady who was like basically the Hallmark version of a bar piano man. She's like playing, and he's like he's eating some pie or something like that. Can I spare a moment for your thoughts? Kind of a thing. It was really funny to me. And so they both kind of come up with these different plans. So honest to goodness, which would you rather go to? Would you rather go to a theater that had a virtual reality arcade or that had a town museum?
For me personally, a museum, but usually I go to the movies because I'm trying to do something with my kids, and so I'd probably have to say virtual reality so we can just loop in a bunch of activities for a few hours and then go home.
Yeah. I mean, I do like a good museum, but the thing about the museum is that you can only go to that one time. I mean, how many times are you really going to want to go to it? Versus like in the virtual reality arcade, you could play it many times, have different experiences.
Right. Change it out and do various adventures and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I personally would probably like the virtual whatever more.
Yeah.
But the traditionalist in me would be like, save the history.
But
like, I mean, so I would probably be on the side of the museum.
But this is also a town that gets super excited about a tableau, which I had never heard of a tableau before. Had you ever heard of a tableau?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Yes, but I just thought it was funny how many times they kept saying it. I was like, I'm glad that this is not a drinking game because I would have died already.
Yeah.
They kept saying it over and over again. I was like, we get it. There's a tableau. We get it.
I've obviously been to like a live nativity. I've seen some stuff kind of like that where there's no like dialogue or plot or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if I get really get the tableau. But like, and I didn't really understand what was the purpose of having the whole flood scene and having things keep getting destroyed, because I didn't really get it. What, like, because they still stayed in rehearsing in the theater.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit confused about that. But it was hilarious when they have the near kiss and it's like boom.
Yeah.
It was like so loud. And I was like, geez, guys, it's just a kiss. You don't need to destroy the whole set. It was really funny to me. So I loved her parents. Her parents were great.
They were so adorable.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, but I was kind of into the dad. He was attractive.
yes, he
Very
they
attractive.
they
I was
were
like,
really, like, I could legitimately believe they're actually married. Like, if somebody told me, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I see it, because they were really cute. Ice cream challenge in this. That was the wimpiest. This is no man versus food thing, and I was like, why are they having mint chocolate chip and raspberries? That's weird. But like, supposedly nobody in the town has finished this dessert.
like, has no one ever been sad? Has no one ever been broken up with? Like, I can put down some ice cream, dude.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
or sad?
I feel like it wasn't even that big.
No.
No.
Like at Disney World, they have this the kitchen sink thing where they literally use an entire can of whipped cream, and they fill up this whole, it looks like a little kitchen sink, and it takes like 4 people to eat it. Like, that's a challenge. This was just like a hearty dessert.
Yeah, this was just like a big bowl.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like, it was hilarious. And so but the dancing scene, I loved it so much.
I did too.
I love that.
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
It was so good. They built up to it so well, and it was like actual legit dancing. Like, they were actually like, it was choreographed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was the best.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And then they
Nice
ended it with a
move.
kiss, and it was like an hour and 15 in. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite ever. I was so excited. It was great. And and I loved kind of how you could tell he was kind of a new man after this kiss, after the dance kiss. Like, he was like out there with those chestnuts, and he's like, oh, he was so excited. I was like, yes. It was really fun. And so what did you think of him being upset over her quitting, that whole conflict?
I feel like he was true to character.
Mm-hmm.
Those things usually bother me, but that didn't bother me. And I think it's because they addressed it right then and there.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, let me tell you, buddy, this is what went down. And then he was like, oh, I made a snap judgment. She was like, yes, you did.
Yeah.
So I really like the fact that they actually duked it out right there and then, he made it up to her later. Because that's very true. Like, in real life, that happens where sometimes you have to duke it right there and then you make up later. But I liked it.
Lisa, what do you think?
It annoyed me because I was like, dude, you don't even know the whole story. Like, just ask her. Oh, so wait, now you quit like immediately, or what does this mean for the project? But instead of asking, he's like, oh, so like,
yeah. Like, it was a little frustrating, but like, I was fine with it. You need some conflict. And I thought that she was just so great. I mean, she's up there in her bedroom, like pouting and stuff. Like, how many times have we seen that scene and it's just been the most insufferable thing and you wanted to die. But this, you felt like you liked her, and I don't know, she just earned it, and it worked, and I don't know, it was good.
Yeah. And I think it helped too that we saw him being like a jerk at the beginning of the movie, where he really did, he jumped to a conclusion.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I feel like it kind of helped rather than him being like, oh, he's a nice, charming young man.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to jump to a conclusion like Pride and Prejudice and Mistletoe.
Yeah.
That was like, that frustrated me because he was so charming, and then all of a sudden he was like a jerk.
Right.
But this one was kind of like, okay, I could see you being a human.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I agree with you. So, okay, then he goes and gives her the blueprints and says, hey, we're going to do your design, your dream design. And I kind of liked that because it was very realistic. Like, they're not keeping the theater the way it is. They're still going to be changing it. They're still going to be adapting it, but they're going to be doing it in a way that is from her. And that was really sweet, I thought, and worked to me compared to a lot of this kind of story where it's like all of a sudden they're going to have enough money and enough funding and enough, like, the big, I think, counterbalance example to this is Christmas Encore from last year, which just fell so flat and made all the right decisions. And it was very frustrating. And I think this did the exact same plot and a million times better, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, okay. And and then they kiss, and then they find out Barry has sprained his ankle. I don't know, everything with Barry is just like, oh my gosh, I love this guy. He's so funny. And so he sprained his ankle. And so that means that Connor has to be in the tableau. And then we get the final kiss on the stage, and everything was really with the snow coming down. Like, yeah, great job.
The kid's
nailed
like,
it.
There's mistletoe.
Yeah. So I'm glad to hear you guys liked it, because I wasn't sure if how much of it was because I just had such low expectations and it was so fun. But the more I thought, I was like, oh, this was so good. And it was written by Judith and Sandra Berg, and they're sisters. And they've done some amazing things in the past. And I just think they nailed it. They did a great job.
A ton. Yeah, they've done a ton.
Yeah. So I love the fact that Hallmark uses so many female writers, and it's just nurturing female voices, female talent. I think it's amazing because they did Majestic Christmas, Christmas Next Door, Harvest Love, Dash of Love, Summer of Love, Love on the Sidelines. So that's some pretty great Hallmark movies. Those are some pretty good ones, I think. Dash of Love is the best. Anyway, okay. So how many crowns did you give this one, Lisa?
I gave this 4.5.
Okay, good. And Kaycee?
4.
Great. I will also give it a 4.5. I really did enjoy it. And I have it at number 6 in my ranking. I have it just after One Winter Weekend and just before it's Christmas Eve. So, yeah. All right. So, last one. Once Upon a Christmas Miracle. This one's pretty simple. It just tells the story of Heather Kruger, who needed a live liver transplant, a live donor, and found donor Chris Dempsey as they go through the process of the transplant and everything. And Christmas, they fall in love. So very sweet. It's true, based on a true story of this real couple. And what were your overall thoughts of this one, Lisa?
I honestly was kind of like you with Majestic Christmas. I didn't read a lot about it. I knew that it was something where she got sick and he was going to help her and they were going to fall in love. And I was really nervous that it was going to play into too much of her last moments. Let's get I know she was going to survive, but I don't know. I was just really worried that it was going to play too much on that and make it. But overall, I thought it was super sweet. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to, probably because I had low expectations, but I enjoyed it a lot.
It does scream Nicholas Sparks, this whole plot.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, honestly.
yeah, for sure. Kaycee, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so this one, usually if fiction, I'm kind of like, it's pretty cliche and whatever. But But the fact that, like, as soon as I saw inspired by a true story, I was like, yes, I am so hooked right now. This is gonna make me cry. I'm gonna be like all the feels. Did not disappoint.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for things that are based off of true stories. Like, they are like up here for me.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I have some issues with it, but overall I enjoyed it. It was a moving story, and I think organ donation is very important. It's a very moving message. It's so easy to get registered as an organ donor. It changes lives, and so I think that's really cool. I mean, I don't know how you get tested to be a liver live donor, but I know that if you want to get tested for or registered, or I don't know what they call it, but as a bone marrow donor, it's the easiest thing in the world. All you do is swab your mouth, and that's it. And you go to what place where they do it, and you submit it, and whatever. That's all you have to do. It's not scary at all, or some kind of blood thing or whatever. And it really can save lives. Appreciated that. What did you think of Brett Dalton and Amy Teagarden's chemistry? What do you think, Lisa?
I thought it was good. It was believable. You know, I liked her a lot more. I didn't know her from anything else, and I liked her a lot more than I thought I was going to. I remember him from last year, and I mean, he was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was in Cooking with Love earlier this year, so that was fun.
Oh yeah, this year. I said last year.
Yeah.
It seems like last year. It was this year.
Yeah. Do you think they had good chemistry, Kaycee?
Yeah, I think they had good chemistry in the fact that, like, they started off as strangers, then friends, then it kind of grew from there. So I like that. I liked how they weren't like super into each other from the very beginning. Like, I think that would have been like not believable or whatever, but they had a good friendship chemistry, I would say.
I guess my main critique of this movie is that I wish that they had been a tiny bit, I get it's Hallmark, but tiny bit braver with the script in allowing him to be a little bit conflicted, have a little bit of a struggle where he learns and grows and becomes a better person. Like, he was kind of a manic pixie dream guy. Like, he was perfect. He never made a bad decision. He never doubted. He never had. And I just think it would have been interesting if they had one scene where he was like, his mom struggles, but he is just kind of this paragon of virtue. And maybe the real guy is like that, and like super mad props if he is. But I don't know. I just think it would have made a more interesting narrative if you'd had him be a little more of a rich character and shown more growth. Also, I think that there should have been a little bit of tension as far as, is it going to work? Is it going to take it? I mean, there was more tension about whether they're going to pull off the fundraiser than about the surgery itself. I mean, that thing was boom, it's done. We've moved on. We're not talking about it anymore. And I don't know. I mean, again, within the Hallmark realm of possibilities, I think they could have had just a tiny bit more sort of tension to make the characters grow and struggle a little bit more. I would have cried, I think, a little bit more. I'd been more emotionally invested. But as it is, it was perfectly sweet and fine. But I don't know. That would have taken it up a level for me.
Mm-hmm. Right. I thought they were going to have more together time at the hospital, like recovering with each other, because that seems to me like that would be the longest part. So that kind of surprised me when they find out they hadn't talked for a while. I was like, oh, okay. But for me, most of the emotional stuff came from the families, because just thinking about my own kids, if they had to go through that, and at the end when the moms like hug each other, that's when I cried, as the moms. I didn't really cry from the relationship, which maybe I should have, but I was more like the moms, and they were like, wine, and I was like, yes, I want to drink wine.
Well, they were the only ones that expressed any kind of conflict or doubt or frustration or whatever, and so that's why you felt more, I think, emotion for them. I agree. And
I totally cried with the whole family talk with the sisters, like, no, we have to do this for y'all. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so sad.
So this restaurant that you see throughout the movie, is it overdone Christmas or just enough? What did you think? There were like so many ornaments like hanging down from the ceiling. It was a lot. I don't know. What do you think?
I'd have been into it.
Yeah.
I'd have liked it.
Yeah.
Because it's Christmas. I'd be like, yep, throw it all up there.
Yeah,
Throw
it
it
was
all.
like the TGI Fridays of Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a good job with sort of the awkwardness when they first meet. That whole, when he finally at the end sort of says, "I am a match," and she hugs him across the table. I thought that all seemed was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That felt very genuine. And I almost could have. I'd be very curious to know when this actually happened, because it did feel a little bit like all the Christmas stuff was like wedged in. And there was a side of me that wishes this had been an episode of Science Hill Delivered.
Yes.
Right? Somehow, some way, they're like working a letter in this. Because
Oh my goodness. Yes, Martha Williamson would have taken up. She would have taken that story up, like way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she totally would have.
Because I don't know. I mean, I
good.
just feel like if my family was going through this kind of insane struggle, like that's one of those touch points that when you have a family reunion and you're like, what is the hardest thing we've had to deal with in the last 20 years? This is going to be one of the things that's going to come up. This is a huge thing. The last thing they're going to be worrying about is cookie swaps. And like that list, I was just like, cross out everything on the list and get daughter liver. That's it. That's all that really should kind of matter. And I don't know. I was just like, I don't think the night before the surgery, you're going to be like crafting wreaths. And I just felt like, yeah, I don't know. That was all just kind of like, I just don't care about, I just care about these people. And luckily they had enough chemistry and it was a moving enough story and an issue I really like, that I believe in and want to support. But I don't know. Did you guys feel like some of the Christmas stuff was just like wedged in a little bit?
A little bit, but I was mostly looking for Steve Basic.
Oh, he's the best.
That's all I was like, just bring him back on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't bother me. I thought the list was just something they had up for, because it was all their traditions that they usually do. And I mean, I don't know, for me, if I were going to major surgery, that's the last thing I want to think of is like me going to surgery. I'd rather be thinking about like scrapbooking or, doing other
wreaths.
things. Yeah, making wreaths. Because I mean, if I didn't get to do that, I would be thinking about it it would give me so much anxiety, just like, okay, am I gonna die?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it just felt a little distracting to me sometimes from the overall emotional narrative that I cared about. And it was just kind of like in normal Hallmark movies, I love all that stuff, but in this one, I wanted it deeper. But I did love the whole scenes after the surgery, and if they weren't quite as deep or as long as I would have liked, it was still very cute when she's coming in there with that cookie and and then when they watch Rocky Mountain Christmas together, I was like, woohoo.
That was awesome.
Like, very good taste. But it was so funny because she's like, oh, you can tell this is the middle of the movie where she's full of apprehension and whatever, and I'm like, they're kissing. This is obviously the last 30 seconds. Like, this is not the middle of the movie. That made me laugh. So yeah, then they get the idea for this fundraiser, and she shows up. She doesn't know that it's a fundraiser, but they still managed to get her to wear. She crushed that red dress. She looked so beautiful. Yeah, I think
for sure.
Yeah, she did.
And so the fundraiser, and I loved her sister was like freaking out about those snowmen, like those truffle snowmen.
Oh yeah. That would be me. That would be me at a party. I'd be like, oh my gosh, look at these snowmen.
Yeah. Because I love appetizers. And in the movie Mermaids, I don't know if you've ever seen that with Cher and Winona Ryder. That's all she cooks is things that are on a stick or toothpick. Like, that's the way to live, man.
For real.
It's so delicious. And so he gives a little speech, and then she gives a speech, and then they talk, and he has gotten this job offer, and to go for this. It was the first time they always have the tempting job offer. Like, is he going to go take the job, or is she going to go, or is she going to stay here with the love, And this was the first one that I can think of that was like, he's going to go help people in Africa or something like that. That's the tempting job offer. But anyway, and she says to him, "You've done so much for me. I don't want to be the one who takes away any of your dreams." And he says, "My dreams are right here with you." And that was super cute. Yeah. It was really good. And then I loved they had an epilogue with a proposal with a carriage and everything, because they haven't had as many proposals lately. I feel like I'm trying to remember the last one. It just seems like it's been, aside from Signed, Sealed, Delivered, it seems like it's been a while since we got a proposal at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's it. Once Upon a Christmas Miracle. How many crowns did you give this one, Kaycee?
I would give it 4.15.
Okay. What about you, Lisa?
No, I feel bad. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I like the true stories.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's good.
I gave it 3.25 crowns.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So I gave it 3 crowns. See, I'm even meaner than you. But I still like 3 crown movies. I have it at 40. I have it just under The Masked Murderer, Garage Sale Mystery one, and just above Love on Safari. So I have it at 40. From Hallmark and Jess, he says 1, Mingle All the Way, 2, A Majestic Christmas, 3, Once Upon a Christmas Miracle, and 4, Christmas Wonderland. Nadia Alvarado Barrios says Mingle All the Way, 2, Once Upon a Christmas Miracle, 3, Christmas Wonderland, and 4, A Majestic Christmas. She says it's difficult to pick 3 and 4. I put it at a tie. So there you go. And Sabrina Latassi says Christmas Wonderland was one of her favorites of the year. And this is the best of the weekend. Laura Ann Marie says Mingle All the Way, Once Upon a Christmas Miracle, A Majestic Christmas, and then Christmas Wonderland. And Waiting in the Pumpkin Patch says Mingle All the Way. And he says, good job, Jen. And she did it. Good job, Jen. We agree with our friend here. Once Upon a Christmas Miracle at number 2, A Majestic Christmas at 3, and Christmas Wonderland at 4. 2 and 3 were only separated by 0.01 in the Crown Rankings scale. A photo finish.
Yay, a photo finish. That's awesome.
Right. Very good. So my ranking, I have Majestic Christmas at 1. I have Mingle All the Way at 2. I have Once Upon a Christmas Miracle at 3. And I have Christmas Wonderland at 4. So what about you guys? What are your rankings? What about you?
That's mine.
Same.
Ditto to yours. Same.
All right.
I have the Christmas Miracle one at 1. 2 and 3 are tied with what is it? Jen Lilly and Majestic.
Okay, good.
And then 4.
Christmas Wonderland.
Yeah, it's very far down from the other 3.
Velvet Painting is it way down. So very good. Well, this was so much fun. I really enjoyed talking to you about these movies, and it was very fun. So thank you so much. I know it takes a lot of time to watch all these and to take notes and everything. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having us back. I was like, you need the band back together.
Yay! Week we have on Hallmark Channel, we have Memories of Christmas, and we have the leading man, Mark Taylor, from that movie. It was the interview this Monday, so make sure you check that out if you haven't listened to it. And then we have Homegrown Christmas, and we're going to have an interview on Friday with Nina Weinman, who's one of our favorites. It's our 3rd interview. She's in the Third Timers Club, which is a very esteemed group. Only her and Catherine Disher, in fact, are in the 3-Timer Club. And yes. And so we have that interview coming on Friday, and the movie she wrote, Homegrown Christmas, is on Saturday. And then yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, he's tall drink of water, that's for sure. Okay, and then Sunday we have Time for Me to Come Home for Christmas. which is the longest plot and longest title in history. And then we have Welcome to Christmas with Eric Mabius. And so that one will be really fun. And so we'll we got lots to look forward to. And so let us know what you thought of these 4 movies. Put your rankings in the comment section or on Twitter. Let us know if you thought we were crazy and way off in our analysis. Please let us know. We would love to talk about them. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod, all of our social media. We try to live tweet all of the movies. And if you can put in your reviews on iTunes, we really appreciate it. And if you give us a thumbs up if you're watching it on YouTube, that's really great too. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and on YouTube. I do family movie nights every single Monday. And this month we're starting the holiday month of reviews. And I'm actually reviewing Trading Christmas this week. So if you check that out, I'd really appreciate it. I'll put a link down to that in the description. So thanks so much. We'll find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Girl Gone Hallmark.
Great. And Kaycee, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hallmark by Words, and you can find my blog there, linked.
Yeah, we'll have that all in the description section, so check that out. And thanks again, you guys. I had so much fun. Really appreciate it. So, Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Bye! Bye!